Hi, and welcome back to another video. So, if you are building in Ghana or managing a building project in Ghana, there is high chances of you also going to be managing payments or handling payments as well. Now, talking about payments, there are different ways, different forms by which payments can be made for work done or even for good supply. Now, some of these payments will be paying with money, which is quite popular, where you either pay in cash or pay through digital platforms, through mobile money, bank transfers, among others, or even remittance. Yes. Aside from that, there's also an option of barter trade where I render you the service, you give me this in return. And there's also the option of maybe favor. I render you the service, maybe you grant me this favor when I need it or at this point in time. Now, in Ghana, or in most cases, a lot of artisans are used to the payment with money. So either you're making payment with cash, making payment through mobile money platforms, or maybe digital, let's say digital platforms. Now, when you're making payment with cash, it is also important to have something to show for payments that you've made. And why is that even important? This is important because there are instances where you might have underpaid an artisan. You never paid an artisan. Maybe you paid the artisan, came back, claim you never paid him or her, or you even overpaid. Where in most cases, certain artisans will not come back to you to even inform you about that. Aside those with maybe integrity will come back inform you that maybe you overpaid them, so maybe they have to refund you certain monies. But if you're making payment with cash, how do you keep track record of the payment so that all doubts are cleared, or maybe you don't find yourself in situations where you can't account for monies that you've paid and the rest? One way you can go about that is having what is known as like a logbook. So the logbook basically will have details of maybe the date, the time, the work that was done, or maybe the materials that was supplied, whoever took the payment, whoever did the work, a section for the amount that was paid, and then even a section for signature. So whoever is taking the amount of money is signing to show that they actually indeed took these monies for maybe this work done or maybe materials that were supplied. And in the cases of materials that were supplied, the instances where you might have bought materials on credit and you forgot about it. So if there's nothing to show that you paid or you never paid, this could be like a challenge. So having a logbook helps. Now, in the case of the logbook, sometimes there's a little bit downside where you might have maybe forgotten the logbook at home or somewhere in the office, and you were on site. You had to still pay the workers. Now, after paying the workers, you maybe might have written it somewhere. When like you go back, you're going to have recorded and maybe you forgot. You get it, and that would not really help, especially if you have to account for monies that you've paid. So that's one of the downside with the logbook. So I personally like to use the digital platform payment. So I mostly make my payments through mobile money. And talking about this, there was an instance where I was going through my account and I noticed that I had overpaid a certain artisan for work done. So I had to immediately contact the artisan, inform him about it, and then he also had to verify from his, mobile money statement that he noticed that he had to refund the amount that was overpaid. And even in another scenario where I had paid a certain artisan for work that had been done for a certain like some time, and then he came back telling me I never paid him. So I had to go through request for statement, go through it, and then send him a proof. He also had to check with his service provider that he noted that I had paid for it. So that is some of the advantages you get, especially when you're making payments with mobile money transfers or even using remittance or bank transfers, where you have a proof that shows that you actually make this payment or this particular set date for whatever purpose it is. So this is really important because you never know when you might have paid somebody and then they come back telling you that you never paid them, or you also never know where you might have overpaid somebody and they never came back to tell you that you overpaid them, and or you even underpaid somebody and then you had to argue with the person that you never underpaid the person the rest. So this is how I personally go about payment, or these are some of the options you can go about payment or paying your workers or maybe suppliers for materials that they supply. But I would like to hear from you. How do you handle payments when it comes to your work, and what are some of the challenges you've encountered so far with the way you handle payments, what has been a learning curve that you've learned from that, and if there's been a better way you found out in terms of payments, what is that? So I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And also, as part of that, I also do have an account sheet or an Excel sheet that I use in tracking or account for every project that I do. So it's always easier to compare dates with the statement and then note that or know that I actually made payment. So I'll be looking forward to hear from you in the comment section. As always, in case you're new to this channel, kindly go ahead and hit on the subscribe button, and then don't forget to hit on the bell so that anytime I have a new video, you get to see it. So I'll see you in the next one.